This episode of Test Drive is brought to you by Elmec and their EV Duty Smart Home Charger.
Genesis has not been in the EV market for a very long time, with their first fully electric vehicle coming out in April of 2021. And in just 2 short years, they've managed to close the gap to some of the competition. Before me today, we have the 2023 Genesis GV70 Electrified. I'm James, this is Test Drive, and I'm going to tell you literally everything there is to know about this GV70 Electrified, so let's get right into this. So let's first start off with what is under the hood, or if you will, under the floor, because this, like I said, is the electric version of the GV70. So we have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery that's good for around 383 kilometers. And that is where I feel like Genesis hasn't really caught up, because you're touching Tesla market prices with your $84,000 starting point for this vehicle, and you're not offering the same range, so that it's going to hurt you in that competition level just a little bit. But we do have all-wheel drive with boost. You can boost yourself up to 483 horsepower. There's a fun boost button on that steering wheel. You'll see it break my neck when we take it for a drive. So I'll quickly talk about a little bit of charging. The Genesis GV70 can go from 10 to 80% in around 18 minutes if you're using a super fast DC fast charger, which is a 380 kilowatt output charger. So you're gonna need a big boy, and it kind of falls off from there. I would recommend obviously getting the EV Duty home charger for it if you want, because it's kind of a level 2. It'll get you just enough for like your overnight when you're sleeping. It'll give you just enough battery to, get you going. You really don't want to rely on the wall plug. It takes about 3 to 6 hours to go from like 95 to 100%, so it's not the greatest option. So now, of course, onto the front of the electric GV70, we have these nice daytime running LEDs. They're the thing that stands out in the front the most, as well as this huge grille. But if you're thinking to yourself, this looks so much like the gas-powered version, well, that is actually by design. Genesis is very, very proud of the fact that they were able to take their gas design and modify it only slightly to have the same design, both gas and electric, and I think they've done a great job. The design wasn't broken with the gas, it was effective. I see a lot of the gas-powered ones on the road, so don't fix it. Use it in the electric one. So besides those daytime running LEDs, like I said, we have this big grille. Hidden in this big grille is your charging port. Click that in once, and look at this. The whole front opens up for you, and there you go. You got this perfectly hidden right charging port in the front, which I think is the best place. You just pull up to the charger, pluck that bad boy right in, and you're good to go. And then when you're done, you fold that thing back, and you could never tell it was there in the first place. They kind of got like this little indent on the pattern here to kind of let you know this is where it is, so you won't get confused. Then moving on, we have the front-facing camera with a bunch of sensors, because this thing has lane keeping assist, lane centering, cross traffic alert, everything you could need, and it even has a highway lane change assist. So it is just fully equipped with all the sensors you need here up front, which is great. Great Genesis logo. Now under the hood, we do have some space. Think Ioniq 5 trunk space, front trunk space. It is not usable. I would use it for maybe a wallet to keep it hidden. But other than that, I'm not opening the front of this thing for much, because you have to pull 2 things. It's just, I would like the fob. Ford's done it. I feel like the rest of the market should do it. But anyways, that's another video. So last but not least, we have the front diffuser here. Very nice, same kind of grille pattern as right here up front. And it's just a little intake that's gonna allow air to come in and go out and all that stuff. So there you have it. There is the front end for the Genesis GV70 Electrified. Let's move on to the rest. Okay, so in the back now for the Genesis GV70, the first thing that stands out to its competition is that we have a rear wiper right here. Some EVs that are in the SUV market don't, so I'm glad to see that. We have this really nice brake light. There's a light bar up here. It's outside of the vehicle, which is very cool to see. These headlights wrap around from the side, come right to the back. Very clean, it just looks luxurious, right? And you'll see that when we get in the interior, they increase it to 10, trust me. So the difference, obviously, I mean, this is the biggest way you can tell whether it's a gas-powered GV70 or an electric power, is the lack of exhaust. Personally, I feel like the exhaust on the GV70 adds personality to the back, and when you take them away, it just kind of becomes like a curved back end with not a lot of detail. That's just my opinion, though. You can tell me whether you prefer with or without in the comments for sure. I'm sure you will. So last but not least for the back end, though, is the back trunk. And look at this. You'd expect it to be here. No, there's actually a camera there, so it can't be there. There's actually a hidden button right here for the camera. For the actual tailgate, it opens up automatically, of course, because we just spent $84,000 on an electric SUV. I'm not opening my own trunk. and we got rain, so it is dripping on my head. But anyways, we have some stuff in here. Of course, I'm storing stuff, so this is where you'll find your wall charger in here. You can also put it under the floor. The wall charger comes in this nice like Genesis labeled bag. It's luxurious. Again, spent $84K, we would expect that. But there's so much room here in this cargo space, it's nuts. You could fold the seats down too and have even more room, but just with the base trunk space and the fact that you can lift the floor up and get a little bit more room down there is excellent. You can even put a bar with a pull-out thing to hide your stuff back here too, which I didn't put in, it's underneath. But everything just fits well, and I'm sure you'll have no problem because it does what an SUV is supposed to do, except it's electric. Okay, so now we're sitting on the side of the Genesis GV70, where you can see just how much of it looks like the gas-powered one, which is great. But we do have two motors, one in the front, one in the back, because it's all-wheel drive, which is very nice. So the things that stand out to me the most are, of course, the color looks nice on the camera. It maybe looks a little bit darker blue, almost black, but in the sun here in person, I can tell you that the blue does come out very nice. I like these chrome accents, really makes things look high quality. And then we have these nice rims. They didn't do too much to make them look EV-ish. I mean, they kind of do look EV-ish, but not as much as other brands have done, which I don't mind because it does look like a normal SUV just from the side profile, which is great. We also have these nice big white brakes with the Genesis logo on them. It looks clean, it looks great with this color, so I'm very happy about that too. The thing that looks a little bit awkward is you kind of got this screen. It's really good for blind spot, but the way they kind of did the chrome makes it look like they wanted to do a third row but weren't sure, but wanted to give you trunk space, but there it is too. So it's interesting, but I don't know. It looks like the normal SUV, and that's the coolest thing. And then last but not least, we have some cameras under here, 360-degree camera, of course. And then we have some sensors here for the front door. Put your hand in, it'll unlock. Press this when you walk away from the vehicle, mirrors will fold in, and everything's good to go. It's all locked up. So with that being said, let's move on. So now I'm sitting in the back of the Genesis GV70, and I am as comfortable as you would imagine from being in the back seat of a Genesis. So I'm sitting in the passenger seat because this is the most interesting point of it. So when I'm sitting here, say this guy in front of me, not enough leg room. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and press this bad boy button right here, and I'm gonna move that seat up almost all the way. Don't care if he's there or not, because you can do this when there's somebody in the seat too. It doesn't matter. And then look at this. I've got executive amounts of leg room back here. I don't care about the guy in front of me. And if I want to make him relax a little bit, I can tilt his seat back too. Just like this. Check this out. Look at that. And now he's way more in my space than I'd ever want anybody to be in my space. So I can move it back up, no problem. That is the coolest part of the Genesis GV70 sitting in the rear. It kind of gives this person, because obviously you can't do that to the driver, because that would just be a death sentence, but you can do that here for the passenger, so that's good. We also have HVAC controls, heated seats back here. You can control your own temperature. It's independent from the front, which is very nice. Nice view of the moonroof. Very nice little pull down thing here. And the seats are just very comfortable. They hold you well because this thing can fly. You'll see it coming up in a couple minutes here. The ambient lighting here is great. This whole thing lights up. I've got good lighting back here. So this car, what this back seat tells me is that it's meant to be driven as much as it's meant to be driven in. They've really covered both sides. We also have some peasant blockers here because you don't want to see the poor people outside. You just squish the front passenger. We're not going to deal with any of that. So there you go. There's the back seat of the Genesis GV70. Let's hop up front. There's a whole bunch to go over, but we'll make it as quick as we can so we can get this thing on the road. So let's go. All right, so now I'm sitting in the driver's seat of the GV70, and I'm surprisingly even more comfortable than I was in the back seat. So starting off, we have this nice steering wheel, very nice to hold, great grip on it. I've got a 3D digital gauge cluster, which is just, don't need it, but it's here and I'll take it. You're definitely not going to be able to see it on camera for that. You're going to have to go in person and see it, but I recommend you do because it's really cool. And it's the first electric vehicle that I've actually seen do that. So that's really awesome. Then we have our nice and big infotainment display, which I can control with this little knob here. It's like a little touch slider, and it could also be like a scroll wheel if I want. And I have everything. I have my navigation, my Apple CarPlay, which is wired only, unfortunately. And this is the only place where you can actually see your battery percentage. It's weird. It doesn't really show you. It shows you the number, how much kilometers you have, but it doesn't show you what percent you're at. So if you're into that stuff, you got to go into the EV menu, but it looks similar to the Ioniq 5, EV, Ioniq 6, all the EVs that come from this, Korean marketplace of electric vehicles. It's the same layout, but you can also control your seats. I have a massage seat as the driver. The passenger, unfortunately, does not, but I do, so that's good. We don't care about our passengers. The driver, it's all about the driver. We also have different terrain modes. We have different drive modes. I'll go over all those when we take it for a drive. We also have a 360-degree camera that renders the whole vehicle. Looks really good. Then we have another screen separately, just like the Palisade. We have another screen for our HVAC controls. Usually I complain about this. I say I need the buttons, and I do still need the buttons. But the fact that I have my own screen that's dedicated to it, that I don't have to go into the main infotainment to do it, I can give it a pass there because I have everything. I have heated seats, dual zone automatic climate control, heated steering, ventilated seats. It's all here. And then we move down, we have some wireless charging, which is great. It's like a thing that you can actually put your phone fully in and close this flap right here. Cup holders, nice storage. It's all felted out, very nice feeling. Same with the glove compartment. It's all very well laid out. I got my paddles here as well for the regenerative braking. The only thing I'm missing is a digital rear view mirror. I would expected Genesis to put that in just because we're spending $84K, might as well give us the full beams, but they didn't. But honestly, it's not a huge deal. I just would have liked to see it in the price point. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the interior. I'm gonna go over everything that I left out or anything that's missing when we drive it, but let's just get this thing on the road. I've been eager to do this all day. All right, so now here I am inside driving the 2023 GV70 Electrified, and it has just been the most comfortable week I've had in an electric vehicle so far. It is just like, you know, it's silence in here. I'd be surprised if you really hear a lot of road noise this week, you know, on the camera or on the mics at all. It has active noise cancellation in here. So even if you're just sitting still, the outside noises are all so quiet and it's just so dampened. Everything's so nice. So obviously, I wish the sound system was better because like it has a really good, you know, noise cancellation, but the sound system is just like lexicon. I have no idea what that is. We do have also a couple of different drive modes. We have comfort, which I'm in right now. We have sport, which I'll switch to. Then we have my mode and eco mode. Obviously my mode, I can change pretty much everything: the suspension, the dampening, you know, and the response as well. And then obviously, like I said in the beginning, I've got a boost button, which will absolutely rip my neck out. So why not? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and just pump the brakes here, press the boost button, and let's go for 10 seconds. Oh, that's damn scary. Whoa. Everything in my car just flew around. You cannot have loose items in here because, yeah, that like, I wanted to drag my teeth out of my mouth. If I had dentures on, right in the windshield. Like, oh my God, what is that? That's just insane power. Like that rivals, and it so closely, the Kia EV6 GT's power. Like that's that instant, like bang, and you're gone. Like it's kind of terrifying. And the handling is really good in sport mode. There's like enough feedback. The body roll is like, it's there, and you can probably see it right now that I'm doing this. The body roll is definitely there, but it's not like crazy. It's really kept knit and tucked. It's really kept in check, which I like. It's super nice to use, and like I could just rip. This is not even boost mode. Like, oh my God. I also have one pedal driving, which is really cool. So like you can go like super fast. Nobody knows you're doing it because there's no exhaust noise. There's nothing. You are the only one that knows that you're ripping your neck out, and nobody else can know because there's no sound. And then I can let off the accelerator, and you know, it'll start to brake for me. It does have iPedal, so it will come to a full stop, which means full one pedal driving, which I absolutely love. I know people don't like to use it, but I love it. I use it all the time. I like it's just so simple. And yeah, like obviously, you know, driving in sport mode all the time is going to affect your range a lot, but when you can just do that whenever you want, it doesn't matter. There is a little bit of torque steer when you do it, like a lot or in random points. Like if you're doing it on a turn, you're gonna get torque steer like crazy, so just be careful with it. I have not turned the traction control off on this thing and did that because I am terrified of what might happen. But I think I've seen like the front wheels, because there is a bigger motor in the front than there is in the back, so the front wheels will spin a lot. Traction control off, it'll do like almost like a burnout. I don't think you can actually drift. There's no secret drift mode in this like there was in the Kia EV6 or anything. But I even have like terrain modes. Like I have a mud, snow, and sand terrain mode, which obviously I haven't been able to use, but it kind of activates the all-wheel motors differently to help you get different traction and different kind of stuff. So yes, you can take your $84,000 off-roading possibly. I don't know. And it will hold its weight in the winter. That is for certain. Now, like I said in the beginning, the biggest downfall of it is that yes, we do compete with the Tesla Model Y and other things in this category, and we do it well with the Genesis. They do it so well. It feels like a normal SUV, whereas Tesla, you have the one screen. It doesn't feel like a normal car. This does a great job at being in that price point, but also being a normal SUV, which is really great. So the part, again, where it, the downfall is, it meets it on every other level except for the range. The range is just under 400 kilometers on a full charge, which honestly is not great, especially if you have to drive in the winter, where unless the battery technology is good, I don't know, haven't been able to test it. Maybe I'll do a bunch of winter testing with EVs this year and I'll be able to tell you more, but I feel like you might lose half to 25%, and then you really can't really go anywhere. And even with road trips, you probably have to stop quite a bit. Yes, the charge time is very good, so they've kind of compensated for that downfall, but I just feel like to really compete, to really go after Tesla, you got to match their range, because that's what everybody looks at in the EV market. Okay, yes, it's fast. Okay, yes, it's got a lot of luxury, but how far can I go on a single charge? That's the baseline. That's ground zero, and we need that to be as good as it can be with everything else. It can't have a sacrifice. Obviously, yes, we are sacrificing because we have an all-wheel drive motor in here, and that does hurt range and stuff like that, but it still should be able to keep up with the Model Y, and it just doesn't yet. So I'm hoping they continue to do it. I'm not sure what the GV60 is range-wise. It might be right there, but then again, it's a lower price point than the GV70. So hopefully they improve the battery tech and we can get a little bit more range out of this guy, because that's really all it's missing to seriously compete with Tesla. This is a little niche feature that I find just really cool. So I obviously have a bunch of seat controls. My seats are all power adjusted. I got 2 memory seats and all that's great. But when Genesis have solved this problem, when you're going to figure out, okay, you want to adjust yourself on the fly, but what button is what button am I touching? I don't know. So whenever I reach my hand down and I touch one of the controls, there's actually a little thing that comes up on my infotainment screen that tells me exactly which button and which knob my hand is on. So I can always know where things are. So I can touch the massage button, I can touch whatever, and it's just going to show me exactly what it is. Only does that for the driver, doesn't do it for the passenger, but the driver needs to know without having to be you don't have to do that, and it just shows you. Not a lot of cars have done that. This is actually the first one I've seen do it, so that is a really cool convenience feature. I love that stuff. So let's do some final thoughts. Let's round up everything that we've talked about. So exterior, really good looking. Love the color. Love the way that the white brakes look with the blue color. The blue color is really nice in person. You gotta see it in person. It's fantastic. Lots of trunk space, lots of rear space. You can move the passenger seat up if you don't have enough, and you can just drive from the back seat, which is really awesome. And it's just very nice looking car, but it looks like the GV70 gas powered, which is cool. I really love that they've done that. I think they're one of the first to try to do that, and it's really cool that Genesis have managed to do it without compromising much. There's no compromise for the rear seat stuff. There's no compromise literally anywhere besides range. You could probably go a little bit further on the gas powered one, but that's it. And then interior wise, it's the same Genesis that we've known and loved for however many years Genesis has been around, although it's electric, so it's a little bit better, it's a little bit faster. The white interior is absolutely fantastic. Can't go wrong with it. Love the white steering wheel. It's just the 3D digital gauge cluster. There's just things in here, and that's why it's just luxury overkill, because there's things in here that you don't really need, but because it's a Genesis, it's in here, so you take it. Obviously, the price point is high, and you're paying for literally everything. Every little piece of convenience thing, you're paying probably at least $1,000 per piece, because it is a very expensive SUV, but so is a Tesla Model Y, so on price they compare. Range, unfortunately, they do not. But the Genesis, honestly, I haven't driven the Model Y, I've driven the Model 3, but if I had to choose between the two, I think I'm going Genesis, just because it feels like a normal SUV. I got everything I need in here. It feels like a normal car. It looks like a normal car, which is cool. Tesla is more of a piece of software, so it is cool for that. But I just love the way that the Genesis design and the ride quality is just unmatched. It's close to what I had in the Lincoln Aviator last year. It is very, very impressive what they've been able to do. And it's a rocket, so can't go wrong with that either. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there for this week for the GV70 Electrified. I've had a great time driving it. I hope you've had a great time watching me drive it, because I love doing that. So, the only thing that's left to say is if you would like to become a member, you can for just as low as $1 a month. If a couple of you subscribe or, become a member to that, then good. If you're already a member, then thank you so much. We appreciate your help so much. We need everything we can get. It just helps us, kind of goes back into the camera equipment and getting better quality and better opportunities to bring out to you guys. That's all it's for, and it helps us immensely. But also you can just like and subscribe, and that helps us with the YouTube algorithm and gets us out to more people, and that also helps us too. So whatever you can do to help us out will be much appreciated. Me and Niall are always working hard. Me in Montreal, him out in Ontario, slowly coming back to the press stuff. So we are having the greatest time, and honestly, we would probably both do this for free. So we literally don't care about money. We just love to share the passion. So there you go. I'll leave it there. I'll see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.